Hello everyone, my name is Katie Black and I am one of the art teachers at the high school. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own watercolor paints from something you may have in your cabinet at home. So what you will need for this, you will need some baking soda, vinegar, okay, I've got white vinegar. I think you could probably use another type of vinegar if you needed, corn syrup, and cornstarch. Now you're also going to need something to add color, so I've got food coloring here. Now I have a lot of food colorings because I like to make cakes and such, but you could use just a few simple colors and mix your other colors. I did try this a couple times. You will need something to put your paints into. Now I used Gatorade bottle caps or pop bottle caps. You could use like a muffin tin. Any sort of jar will work. If you have an egg carton. Now, if you have an egg carton, if you're using a styrofoam one, those definitely work. Here I have a cardboard one, although I think I've discovered something about this that helps your paint dry faster. So I'll kind of explain this one later. If you have one of these, that works great too. So you'll need something to put it in. Today I'm going to use this. This used to hold frozen baby food when my kids were little, so I thought that worked pretty well with the different wells here. You'll need a bowl, a spoon, a tablespoon, and a half teaspoon. So I'm going to start with 4 tablespoons of baking soda. Okay. I'm also going to use like a butter knife, or you can use a popsicle stick or something to kind of smooth that, to measure that properly. I'm going to put that in the bowl. And then comes the fun part. I get to add 2 tablespoons of vinegar. Now, if you have done stuff with baking soda and vinegar before, you know that it bubbles and fizzes, and that's kind of fun too. So now I'm going to let it bubble up. Okay. And then when it's kind of done fizzing, I'm going to take my spoon and just stir it together well. Okay. Now once it all looks nice and combined, okay, it's kind of a watery glue consistency, I'm going to add the half a teaspoon of corn syrup. Now corn syrup is really sticky, so it doesn't come out of the teaspoon very well, so you may have to kind of pull it out with the spoon. I'm going to mix that in. And then the last thing I need is 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And I'm going to kind of mix this up. It does get kind of chalky and difficult to mix. If you've ever made slime before, it does feel a bit like that. But make sure you stir it thoroughly. Get all the little dusty pieces in there. It should be more like Elmer's glue at this point. And once you have it stirred, you want to get your paint wells ready. And I'm just going to distribute this into the different paint wells using my spoon. Now it doesn't matter how big or your paint wells are. If they are a little bit bigger, if you're using the muffin tins or something like that, you may need to use a bit more food coloring. Okay. I'm gonna grab a paper towel and kind of clean up my drips here. And then I'm gonna select what color I'd like to use. So let's say with this first one, I wanna use red. So I'm going to add a couple drops. With the lighter colors, you don't seem to need as much. It depends on how potent you want the color. So I'm gonna go with maybe 3 drops of red. Grab a toothpick and stir. You can see that okay. Stir, make sure you get the mixture up off the bottom until it's pretty consistently the same color. And then I will move on to my next one. I'd like to do this one blue. A couple drops of blue. You'll need anywhere between, I found at least like 1 and 5 drops. You can see the color when it mixes. So if I wanted that to be a bit darker, I would add, there we go, a bit more blue. But I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to proceed with this till I get all of my colors. And I did find that when I used the yellow food coloring, I needed a very, very small amount, almost like a half a drop. Otherwise, it turned very orange. So what I did here was I took the toothpick, and instead of dropping it into the thing, I dropped it right on the toothpick and then stirred it up. And was able to get a nice yellow that way. Otherwise, my yellow from before, as you see, turned pretty orange. Now you can mix your own colors. You can do all your own combinations. If you want to add some yellow to the blue, actually add the blue to the yellow. Always add the darker color to the lighter color. It's much easier. Or put maybe, drop of yellow and a half drop of blue. You can make some green if you don't have a green in your mixture. Same with purple and all the other colors. I'll do a purple one here. Now, some of them may come out very dark. I found that with the purples and some of the blues. That is fine. If you think to watercolor palettes, a lot of the colors look very, very dark, especially the purple, but it does paint just fine. So once you're adding water to this and painting with it, it will work. Now, after I'm done here, I do need to let this dry for 24 hours. So that's a whole day. If that's hard to wait, you can try to speed up the process by adding a little bit more cornstarch. But I would recommend to get your best colors, you should wait. Now, I did discover something with the egg carton. I tried to, at a disaster, at a fail last night with this, I tried to pour the mixture into here, but I found it dried so fast because the egg carton picked up all of the extra moisture that I couldn't mix the paint in it, and it got all crumbly. I tried to mix it in really fast. That also did not work. But I found that here, if I mixed the color in a separate container and then poured it into here and just left it, it worked beautifully, and it dried just in a couple hours. I have a nice kind of red piece here. You can pop these out afterwards and set them on a plate or something like that. So that was a way to make them dry just a couple hours. If you want to use that. Some of the paints I made last night, I have a green here, and they work really well. So when you are all finished, you can grab a brush. You'll need, of course, a little bit of water. Get your brush wet. Okay, I can mix it around in here. And you'll see I can paint. This pigment is really nice. Okay, so that is my blue. I can rinse out my brush. Let's try the purple. Again, this is after they have fully dried, so after about 24 hours, I would say. Okay, and my purple. Let's try the green. Okay, and of course you can mix these all just like regular watercolors. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial on how to make watercolor paints. Make sure you check out the other one. It's on egg tempera. So we have another one if you have eggs in your house, and we can even do some homemade pigments.